So like I was saying, we are starting from, we started with fluid statics. So the first unit we covered was that of fluid statics. That was our first unit. And the whole idea was that what kind of forces, pressure and forces would be acting on the surfaces which are carrying that fluid within it. So we talked about hydrostatic equation, and hydrostatic equation came out to be something in this way that the effect of pressure with respect to depth is due to the body force, which is due to acceleration due to gravity. So we came out with something like that, and that was our unit 1. Also, one part of unit 1 was rigid body motion. We were considering it as a fluid statics case, although in reality we could see that there is some kind of motion happening. So there were two cases inside it. One of them was simple translation and the other was rotation. The third component of unit 1 was you can say dimensional analysis, and in dimensional analysis also we covered Buckingham Pi method, we covered similarity. These were the similarity and similitude. These were the things which we covered. For buoyancy, I said that this is something you can read yourself. Buoyancy was also part of unit 1, and it was a very short part of unit 1. There was another portion of unit 1 actually in your course, which was Newton's law of viscosity, although I covered it with unit 2 because I said that actually it makes sense, because effect of viscosity would come when there is motion between fluid particles, between fluid layers. It's then only that you would see the effect of viscosity. So that was covered with unit 2. We finished with our unit 1 and moved on to unit 2, and unit 2 had two parts. Part 1 was fluid kinematics, and part 2 was potential flow theory. So in the fluid kinematics part, we actually wanted to know that if there is a motion in fluid, if the fluid is in motion, then what are the different kinematic parameters which we have, and how we can understand and how we can visualize this fluid in motion. So we talked about path line, streamline, streak lines, timeline, things like that. We talked about them, and then how streamlines can be calculated, how path line and streak lines can be evaluated, calculated, how their equations can be known. We talked about that, and then we moved to deformation of fluid element, and we did that using a material line. We used a material line and we talked about its longitudinal deformation along its axis deformation, and we talked about its deformation and rotation. So we talked about volumetric deformation, we talked about rotation, we talked about shear deformation. So these were the things which we talked about, and then also since there were few things related to it like circulation, vorticity, so we talked about them also. After that we moved actually, and also actually just to revise, the first thing in unit 1 we covered was overall acceleration, and we called it material acceleration. Capital D of velocity divided by capital dt, that was something, and it came out to be consisting of two components. One of them was changing with respect to time, the other was changing with respect to space, and based on that we came up with many ideas like if my flow is steady or unsteady, if my flow is uniform or non-uniform. So these were the kind of things which we covered in part 1 of fluid kinematics. Further, within the part 1, we moved forward to stream functions and potential functions. And actually, we came up with these while we were discussing compressible or incompressible flow, and we said that you can know if a flow is compressible or incompressible by looking at volume dilatation, volumetric deformation, or divergence of velocity. If del dot V is 0, then it is an incompressible flow, otherwise it's a compressible flow. That was one way of saying it. The second part was if there is fluid rotation, meaning by if there is some kind of vorticity existing, meaning by if there is del cross V, if del cross V is equal to 0, then it was irrotational flow. There is no fluid rotation, and fluid rotation happens due to viscous effects. So what you are basically saying, once you are saying that del cross V is 0, you are saying that there are no viscous effects present. Okay, so the kinematic aspect is del cross V, and the physical aspect of it, the force aspect of it would be actually that the viscous shear is negligible. So from there we actually came up with the stream function and then potential function, and then we moved forward to an ideal flow case, and we said an ideal fluid flow case where we are going to use potential function. We call it a potential flow theory, and we said that this is the place, this is the domain where we have incompressible irrotational flow. We are actually dealing with incompressible irrotational flow. It is incompressible W0. We moved on to the second part of unit 2 and said that this was potential flow theory, and what we were doing in potential flow theory is that we were trying to analyze what kind of velocity field would be, what kind of velocity field would be if we have a potential flow which is a incompressible irrotational flow. And we said that we can relate our velocity to our pressure field. This is something which we will talk even afterwards in more detail in unit 3 also, that what we meant by this, why we are finding velocity fields and how we can relate it to pressures and forces in potential flow. So we said that this kind of flow, which is a potential flow, is governed by Laplace equation, and Laplace equation is a linear partial differential equation, and the solutions are harmonic functions. And one of the property of Laplace equation is for a linear for this kind of linear partial differential equation is that summation of solution would also be a solution in itself. So let's say phi 1, phi 2, phi 3, let's say these are solutions of Laplace equation. If we combine them together, phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3, this would also be a solution to some Laplace equation. So this was a very important tool, and through this what happened, we found out that if there are different boundary conditions, this would result in different kind of flows. For example, flow over this kind of body would be different from flow over this kind of body. If flow is coming from here, and would be different from flow over this kind of for different kind of bodies, flow would always be different, and this would be changing because of the boundary conditions, because of the shape. There would be different kind of flows. So what we said is for all of them we have one equation, Laplace equation, with different boundary conditions. So let us start with the very simple basic flows, elementary flows. So we studied uniform flow, and then source and sink flow. We combined them together, and then we had a doublet flow, and vortex flow over non-lifting flow over a cylinder, and then lifting flow over a cylinder, and that was your complete second part of unit 2. And the way we were going through it was we would find velocity, and through that we would come towards a stream function, potential function, or we would have the velocity, we would have the stream function, and from there we would find the velocities, and then the stagnation points, and then the stagnation streamline, and that would give me the shape over which flow is happening. Stagnation streamline used to give us that. So this is something which we covered in unit 2. There were few parts where we were going to relate our velocity field with the pressure or with the forces. That is the part which I said I am leaving, and I would cover it after unit 3. So that's how we are coming to unit 3. And let us start with unit 3 now. Now unit 3 is fluid dynamics. Now here we would deal with different kind of forces, what are the laws which are governing them, how there is interaction happening. To start with, we need to understand few terminologies and what they mean. So we will be talking a lot about this term known as system. Now what is system? It is defined as an arbitrary quantity of mass of fixed identity. Arbitrary quantity, it could be small or big, or now everything external to the system is termed as surrounding. So let us say that this is something which is called system. So everything outside here would be surrounding. Everything external to the system is termed as surrounding. Now system is separated from its surrounding by its boundaries. Now this would be known as boundary. System is separated through boundary. Now we can study the motion of fluid particles as they move through this space. Now this is the system approach or the Lagrangian approach. Okay, this is one approach. This is one approach. What are the advantages of this kind of approach, Lagrangian approach? That the law of mechanics apply directly to matter and hence to the system. Now what are the disadvantages of this approach? The mathematical analysis becomes a bit complicated because you are looking at a collection of particles, and as they are moving, so it becomes a little bit more involved, although this is used. Lagrangian approach is used. Next approach, the second approach, is the control volume approach. Now alternatively, we can study a region of space. Okay, now before, what we were doing, we were considering an identifiable group of fluid particles having certain mass, and they were moving, that those fluid particles were moving. So let's say those fluid particles are moving, they came near a solid body and they got deflected from their path. So what kind of forces were acting on those fluid particles which deflected them? So this is something which is known as system approach. And the control volume approach would be that I would make a boundary around this, and then there would be different fluid particles entering and exiting, and I would be looking within that boundary what is happening. So this is something which is written here. Alternatively, we can study a region of space as fluid flows through it. This is control volume, meaning by that region of space is known as control volume, and this is Eulerian approach. For example, in case of an aerofoil, this is an aerofoil, we are interested actually in the lift which is caused to the aerofoil and the drag force which is acting on it, and we don't care with what is happening to individual fluid particles. So here it makes much more sense to use a control volume. Now we can use different kind of control volume. Someone can use a control volume which is like, okay,